Welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast. This is a show where we aim to educate, inspire and entertain through real life stories and interviews from people in the Scottish property community.
As always, thanks for listening, and give us a follow on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Remember to join us at our monthly networking events on the first Wednesday of every month. Tickets are available on our website. So without further ado, we'll just cut straight into this week's podcast. Giuseppe Paladini, thank you for joining us in the Scottish Property Podcast.
Hello, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for coming, really appreciate it.
How does an Italian doctor end up in Stirling then? And you've been here a while now, so you're not going back to Italy, are you?
No, not for now. I actually came here with no doctor title, so I've done my PhD at the University of Stirling, so in Scotland.
Is that where the doctor comes from then?
I'm not a useful doctor, so a PhD doctor. Okay? So if you're sick, don't come to me.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So that was back when?
That was starting in 2008 and finished in 2012, so 4 years PhD. And then I became a lecturer at the University of Stirling.
Right.
So
take it back then. Like, what was your kind of growing up like in south of Italy you were from?
South of Italy, Puglia region. That's a hill of the boot. If you picture Italy.
Plenty of sun.
Yeah, come from a farm. So my dad is now he's retired, but he was a teacher, high school teacher. Right. And my mum, housewife and farmer, you know.
Any property and any sort of property experience in your family back then?
No, zero.
No. So
an academic family as well.
Yeah. I mean, high school teacher, so not like professor or anything. So, but that passion for teaching came, I think, from my dad. And, yeah.
What did you come to study again?
Fish pathology. So aquaculture, salmon, stuff like that. Oh. So anything that is related with public health, like if you like sushi, sashimi, so there are parasites that can transmit to human when you eat them. So I was studying that interaction between animals and humans.
How did you get passionate about that? Where did you get the idea from that you wanted to study that?
I think it's about getting inspired by people. Right. So throughout all my life, I got inspired by people like teachers, professors and stuff like that. And there was one particular professor that inspired me about this subject. And I didn't want to do that, to be honest. I say, who studied fish? You know, I'm not ever getting a job on this subject. But then I got inspired and I said, you know, I quite like this one. And then when I was doing my bachelor degree, there was a time to do the dissertation. And the dissertation was, okay, Giuseppe, where do you want to go to do this subject? And I say, well, anywhere in Italy. She said, oh, no, nobody does it in Italy. So you have to go abroad. I said, but I don't speak English. I said, you have to learn it. Right then. Okay, so she sent an email to 4 countries, 4 professors, Scotland, Denmark, Norway and Czech Republic. And the only one who replied was a Scottish one. So then I came here in 2005 for a month, and then again I was struggling because I love interacting with people, talking to people, but I couldn't speak. Yeah. So everybody was avoiding me. And then this guy was brilliant. Again, I got inspired by this guy as well. He was doing all the drawings, the diagrams of what I had to do in the lab. And then, you know, I was performing really well because I was focused only on that. And then after 2 years, got offered a PhD position, fully paid. Very happy when they told me you get £1,000 a month. I say, really? Is that crazy?
No, it's always interesting seeing how you ended up here. Obviously, we're going to go on to talk about how you built your portfolio, 23 properties in a quite a short space of time, and the multiple businesses that you've got going on now, and your property coach and all the rest of it. Talk to us a wee bit though, because we always have this conversation quite a lot about, you know, we've all got kids here, and I see a kind of rise of people online talking about, you know, the value or lack of value of the education system now, and kids going to university. So from somebody who spent a heck of a long time studying at university, was it worth it?
100%.
And why?
Not about the subject, but about the network and the mindset it gives you. Without the university, I don't think I would be here at all. Not just in Scotland, but like in this career of property.
How do you think it's developed you as a person then?
So basically, you develop an analytic mindset. So you start to question things. You don't just accept them because they are like that. So as a PhD student, you have to research the subject. So you have to go on your own, be independent, research the subject, and question everything.
How long does that last?
Is that
4 years.
Is that the subject in general, or is that further education? Because it sounds like it's a subject, not the further education part.
No, it's okay. So forget about PhD. Let's go back to university, like bachelor degree, master's degrees, etc. That gave me you are in a network, so you're not on your own anymore. You're not self-studying. Yeah, it's good self-studying, but it's not the same thing. You meet people, and then you don't just meet these people. You meet the people that these people know as well. So your network expands exponentially. And you get into a stage where you're not playing with the ducks anymore. You're flying with the eagles. There's a saying. And it's not about like social levels. It's about understanding where you want to be. And if you want to be, if you want to become a mechanic, you have to spend time with mechanics. There's no other ways. You can learn on your own, but it's not the same thing. So for me, the university gave me that analytical mindset, which I still use today to question everything and to start to find the solution and not the problem. So every time there is a problem, it's in the past already. It happened. I can't do anything about it.
I think, like you say, there's value in it when you specifically, if you're a young person and you have a specific goal that you want to be, I don't know, a doctor, and that's really your passion, you want to do that. And obviously, that's the path, right?
You're getting there without the further education.
Yeah. I think so many young people are just pushed into it. When they think that's really the only route, and then from parental pressure as well, they're just like, right, that's what you have to do, and if you don't go to university, then you're thick, or some sort of pressure like that. And then young people go into it, they get themselves into crazy debt. They probably hate it, some of them as well. I mean, it sounds like you've been quite lucky there in terms of do you enjoy it?
No.
You didn't enjoy
it? I really enjoyed the university, but I didn't enjoy studying before that. Right. I hated it. And I'm the youngest of three. So my brother is 5 years older than me. My sister is 2 years older than me. And they went to school before me, to the same professor, same teachers. And they always compare me with them. So I was hating it because they said, oh, you're not like your sister. You're not like your brother. I know, I'm different, obviously.
Yeah, me.
You discover the hot water, obviously. But to me, I hated it because I was like, what's the point? I'm just doing enough to pass. And then, I just go to the next year and so on. Until I found professor that inspired me to actually study because I wanted to and not because I had to. So all these people, young people that are pushed into university and stuff like that, I get your point. And if you ask them at 17 years old or 16 years old when they start to get into the university, what do you want to do? They don't know.
YouTuber.
Possibly. Before it was footballer, actor, or whatever. Now it's YouTuber and TikTok. But they don't know. So what's the point of doing something that you don't know the end goal?
What's your opinion for your? So you got kids? Have you?
I have two kids. Yeah,
2 kids.
5 and 8.
If your kid turned right to you and said, "No, I don't want to go uni. I want to go and do something else. I want to go and do an apprenticeship, or I want to do, what." How would you react to that?
That's a delicate topic. I need to speak to my wife first. No, I would definitely say yes, do the apprenticeship, but you have to do university as well because of the network. Right. Then if you don't want to do that topic anymore when you finish the university, do whatever you want, but do that higher education.
So what was the point? I'm really curious and interested to know about the whole point, because you spent how many years in total, like, at the university?
University was 5 years, so 3 plus 2, so 3 years bachelor, 2 years master, and then 4 years PhD.
That's a large chunk of your life.
Yeah.
So what was the point in doing the PhD?
So what you're thinking now is the title, right? Once you get the title,
right.
I'm not thinking about the title. I'm thinking about the journey that I had. So if you only focus on the title, obviously you say, okay, what's the point? You spend all these years, all this money, but the experiences that I had throughout all these years and the people I met.
Talk to us about that though, like, because you're talking about, you keep mentioning network and stuff, and experiences. Give us some specific examples of how that network has benefited you now.
So it's a great question. Actually,
a good one.
It's a very good question. It depends which stage. So
I could go to the Scottish Property Podcast event every month and build a good network.
True.
But, I don't need to go and do a PhD for 4 years.
No, you don't.
You
don't. And you say something before, like, oh, you're thick if you don't go to university. Absolutely not. You can be super clever and not have the opportunity to go to university, or you don't want to go to university. That's perfectly fine. But when I talk about the network it's not just professional network, it's human network. For example, I was very fussy to eat anything that wasn't Italian. Okay, really, I was just eating pasta, pizza. That's it. But just Italian ingredients.
You don't like haggis supper. That's what
I'm still trying to get used to.
Deep fried Mars bar.
I tried that. But in the environment of multicultural students, then you start to open your mind to other cultures, and you think, oh, wait a minute. So Italy is not the best place to live in the world. There is also Thailand. There is also Philippines. There is also Scotland. There is also Brazil. And you start to think, all my life, I thought that what I had in my bubble was that perfect. But now I realize there's not. And when somebody asks me, what are you doing here? Why you don't go back to Italy? Why would I? I love here. Yeah. I built my family. I've done my studies. I built my property portfolio. I can go to Italy anytime. We go 4 or 5 times a year, because it's easy to travel. We go to visit the family and go on holiday. But why would I move there? It feels to me that I'm going backwards rather than forward.
So was the idea to get a job?
My idea was to get a job, yes, and I did.
What did you want to do?
Professor.
So is that the one you started at 2012?
That was so 2012. I done. Yes, that's right. I became a lecturer at the University of Stirling, and I loved it. I loved teaching.
What did you love about that? Just the people,
the audience, the people, getting the interaction with the students in terms of knowing their names, knowing their stories. I always been interested in people in terms of why are you doing that? What is it that you need? What can I help you with? And stuff like that. Nothing to do with sales or courses or anything. That was my job as a lecturer. But I was also interested in people. And that got me, several awards at the university, as the best teacher at the University of Stirling. I'm not saying to show off. It's just, and I was thinking
how seriously you took your career, your profession. Yeah.
And I was thinking, if I'm Italian, I couldn't speak a word of English, and now I'm learning, and I'm doing this.
And teaching.
How is it possible that others, they are English native, native speakers, they can't put that passion into teaching?
And what would have been the course then that you were the professor of?
That was marine biology and parasitology, so fish pathology, things like that.
And like in Scotland, is there good kind of like opportunities there for that sector?
Yeah, both in academia and in the industry. Scotland, I don't know if you know, but it's the third biggest country of producer of salmon.
Right, so producing good talent as well through the university. So that must be quite, good and a good feeling when you're seeing these young people progress. And then obviously they come out and they're going into good opportunities, and some of them become top levels in their game as well. So you've got a part to play in that too, producing good talent.
Hopefully.
Let's take a quick break, guys, from today's show to talk about selling your property with Prime Property Auctions. Now, myself and Stephen have both used John and Lewis from Prime in the past, and we can personally vouch for their service. They sell vacant and tenanted property, and you get to control the minimum reserve price so that you're not selling your property for peanuts. They pay for all the stuff like photos, videos, and all the marketing stuff up front, so you're not paying anything from the start, and it's a no sale, no fee. So if you want to check out Prime Property Auctions, then get across to the link on the show notes and speak to the guys.
So tell us, what was the first inspiration to property then?
To property?
Yeah.
We're here to talk about property.
Oh, sure, we were talking about story.
So I better bring this into the conversation.
Actually, it's related with that. So I finished my PhD. I didn't become a lecturer straight away. I had 1 year of 12 months working for free at the university, because I was passionate about what I was doing. So obviously you need money. Okay. So at that time I met my wife at the university. She was doing a PhD as well, and we moved together. We were renting, and I didn't have a salary. Obviously I had the savings from my PhD. As I say, we were paid £1,000 a month at the time.
Sorry, where's your wife from?
Mexico.
Yeah.
Again, international.
Right.
And that gave me as well studying. The £1,000 a month, I saved 660, basically 66% of my salary, because I didn't go out to pubs. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I didn't have a car, I had a bike. So you can probably say a boring life, but I don't know. I was just happy with what I had.
I love it. See, I love the PhD students as tenants. They just like want to just stay in. No parties, no drama.
No, there is a lot of parties. There are a lot of parties. It's just that, I don't know, I've never been a party guy. So I like to go, but I'm the one sitting in the corner.
Not spending any money.
I don't know. Classmates, they were saying, oh, we paid peanuts, £1,000 a month, that's nothing. I spend it in the weekend. I say, I don't know how you live, but I don't. But anyway, what we're saying is, we moved into a 3-bed flat. It was in Causeway Head in Stirling. And we were renting one room, and then we said, okay, we rent the other room. This was £600 a month, so we paid 300, and that's our side of the rent. And then we started to read about, books and webinars and stuff about property. The thing was that we weren't getting any money, so I started to think, this is not working. What can I do? Started to Google how to make money legally.
Stephen Clark popped up.
Like, you're
because I could see all the nice fancy cars, and I was like, how is the people affording that? So Google came in with Amazon. You need to sell stuff on Amazon, and then next one down was property, and then property, and then property. I was like, again, it's a game for rich people. It's not for me. I can't do this. You need the money to do property, etc., etc. Then I started we started to watch some webinars, and we learned about serviced accommodation. So we rented one room or the 3 bedrooms on Airbnb. Obviously, we asked the letting agents, and we said, is it okay if we rent the 3rd room on a short term? And they say, I don't know. You never told me. Do what you have to do. I say, good.
As long as you give me 50%, he said.
That was 2012, 2013, yeah, roughly.
Right.
That
must have been when Airbnb just came. Not long after.
No, it was
started.
just at the beginning.
Really,
just at the beginning. I didn't even know it was called serviced accommodation.
Yeah.
So we put it on Airbnb, £30 a night. The pictures are horrible. If I look back now, it's like, the bed, the duvet cover was like blue with the stripes and stuff. Horrible. But anyway, it served the purpose. So we put it on the...
You wouldn't get away with that now.
No, not at all. At £30 a night, we had so many guests for one night, 2 nights, and they were in the best moment of their year because they are on holidays. So we were cooking for them, we were sharing whiskey, we were doing bear in mind when I say I don't drink a lot, but I drink a little bit with friends and stuff. So we established connections there, and one of them, one night, there was a couple, an Irish guy and a Spanish lady. They were together, and they started to say, oh yeah, we do the same in Spain. My brother is buying his second hotel. I said, bloody hell, his second hotel? How does he do it? How much money? I said, he doesn't need a lot of money. I said, here we go again. I'm hearing this sentence again and again. I said, what do you mean? I said, go and study, download an app, download a book, do what you have to do, but study, because this is possible. So there is when I started to learn about, buying properties, recycle your cash and all this stuff. Obviously, I didn't have money. But at that time, I bought a house just when we got married, a few months later. And I've learned about equity and equity release. For people that don't know about equity, I'm sure you know that, but just for the audience, it's the difference between your total value of the house and the outstanding mortgage. So that difference is you can release it tax-free, part of it, not all of it. So I've learned about that, and I say, that means that I have to increase my mortgage rather than decrease it. That's the opposite of what they taught me.
Against the conventional thinking, yeah.
Yeah, because again, at school they teach you, pay off your mortgage as soon as possible because then you can get debt free. But that's good debt, because it's cheap loan. What was the mortgage? Like 1.79 or something like that.
Yeah, that time.
That was
the good old days.
Yeah, that was my mortgage at the time.
Just felt.
1.79, and then I said, okay, let me call the bank. I called NatWest at the time and I said, do I have any equity? I said, yeah, you have £27,000 that you can release. And I said, good. Now, how much? I said, well, it's 6.9% for that £27,000.
Additional borrowing.
I said, all right, let's do it, because I had no option B. Let's do it. They transferred me the money after 24 hours. That was very quick because they did a desktop valuation, no further underwriting. And that was the moment when I was really, really studying, say, I'm going to buy a buy-to-let.
And is you still on YouTube learning?
Yeah, always.
And no, at the time?
At the time, yeah.
You didn't pay £20,000
no,
to win a property
I didn't
course?
have the £20,000. I had no money. That was the additional borrowing. That was it. So that was my deposit for the first buy-to-let in Sterling.
And the wife is on board at this time?
The wife...
Or did she take a bit of convincing?
You know what? She's never opposed.
What's your wife's name, sorry?
Olga.
Was she okay?
So we have a deal that we don't stop each other. So whoever comes with a crazy idea, we support it because we know the other one is not crazy. So if there is a vision, and I think we were chatting about this one before, if you have a vision, it's in your head. So your job is to show that vision to the next person to inspire them to get them on board. But if you think they will guess your vision, you're completely wrong. There's no way they're going to be on board. I'm not talking about your partner, but also your staff members.
They don't know what's in your head. They don't
exactly.
Can't see it. Yeah.
You're the entrepreneur. You know what you want, where you want to be, what you want to achieve. And if you don't tell them and explain your vision, it's very hard to get them on board. So me and my wife have this deal that we don't stop each other because surely the other one has that vision. So I want to see it. I want to see it as well. So she's on board now. But she was scared. She wasn't sleeping at night when she said, Giuseppe, are you sure you're going to increase the mortgage? How are we going to pay for that?
Yeah.
Say, don't worry about it.
That's a common thing. I bet you it happens all the time when people get, you'll see it as well.
Yeah.
Folk come through your workshops and all that. One person's trying to go, the other person's pulling.
Yeah, it's so much easier when your partner's on board and supports your vision because, like you said, you understand it.
And you probably hear this question all the time. How can I get my partner on board? She or he doesn't want to do property, and I always say you can't. You have to link it. So what
you
does
have to ditch them?
No. It depends on your relationship, but you have to link it
to a reward or something they want. Or
I do believe in the one that you see all the time as well. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I really do believe that. And if you've got a lot of negative people around you, and a lot of, even if you're talking to your pals and your friends down the pub and all that, and they're saying property, it's a scam or whatever, it's not good. It's not a good environment to try and grow yourself.
Yeah, I hear that a lot of time, but at the same time, and I agree with that. 100% agree with that. And that's why I like to go to networking events. I don't go that often, to be honest. I should
I've never seen you in Glasgow.
I know. You never invited me.
£20 a ticket.
That's good. That's good. I come. But yeah, that's why I try to go out, because your circle of friends is good, but you don't get that buzz that you're now looking for. If you didn't know anything about business, fine, you're fine with your friends, etc. But once you start to learn there is more, then you want more, and you want people they're already in that place, so you can get more. That same energy.
See the buzz. You're talking about the energy there. I do get a buzz every time I go at the networking event every month, the one that we run. I come out of that place and I struggle to get to sleep actually, because you're going round, you're hearing people doing these deals, this deal, that people are buying apart hotels, portfolios. You're like, you come out there with that energy.
Yeah. That's why I really need to get out more often. So promise. This is my promise live that I'm coming to the networking events.
so obviously you're realising, went off subject there a wee bit. You got the additional borrowing, £28,000?
£27,000.
What did you do with that money?
Straight into the buy-to-let. So that was November. Bear in mind, September we had the guests telling us about the second hotel. Started to study. I started to read books and go out and with estate agents to do viewings. I got an offer accepted, but I didn't have the money yet.
Where was that?
Sterling.
So
my wife says, what are you doing? I changed my profile with property investor on social media. She says, you don't have a property. I say, I am a property investor. I'm going to do that.
See that's a good point. Did anybody notice that at the uni?
Yes, they did after.
People start asking questions, because that's another stumbling block for people.
Yep.
They're in a job, a professional job.
They don't want to.
They don't want anybody to know, or else their employers get some sort of like weird kind of like strict policy.
That's a great topic.
How did that?
2 years in. 2 years in, when I started to grow and do more, properties and social media and stuff like that, they said, they called me, the director of the institute called me in the office and said, what are you doing? I say, what do you mean? I say, oh, you posting on social media where you're at work. I say, no, that's not me, that's my VA. So the director was like, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, I'm working, doing working hours, and then when it's out of working hours, I'm doing property, but I don't see anything wrong with it. Oh, but if you have any interest in other business, we might have to revise your contract and stuff like that. I said, that's BS. I'm not going to do that. So that was the time when I was ready over the edge and thinking of leaving the career of lecturer.
Why were you over the edge, and why were you thinking of leaving the career? Was it not playing out the way you expected it to?
No, I didn't know I wanted to leave my job until I started to do business. And then I realized that the only thing I loved about that job was the teaching part. But I hated the administration, I hated the bureaucracy and the politics. I just couldn't stand it. I was in endless meetings all day. Nobody could take responsibility or anything. I said, I'm wasting my time, I'm wasting my life, and for what? This is my salary is going to be like that for 40 years, and then I'm going to retire and probably die.
But you'll have you'll have a name.
I have that.
A doctor. And are you going to be remembered for that? Probably not.
Probably
are you going to be able to build a better future for your kids? Well, like you say, it's kind of capped. So you realise the potential of business and entrepreneurship, or
I always been creative, so I wanted to create. And when I was at the university, I proposed to them to do courses on different topics to sell, because I was starting to get into that business mindset, and they completely shut me down and says, no, we don't do this. Now, funny enough, that was just 6 months before COVID, and when COVID hit, they had to turn all the courses online. And I was 6 months ahead of them. And I told them to do that because they could make a lot of money. They didn't. And that was, their loss, obviously. Because I was working with the same salary, I didn't get any money from the sales, but I was committed to do it for them. And they didn't want it. So again, all my creativity was shut down there. That's why I said, what's the point? I don't want to do that. I want to do my own stuff, and I want to create. If I want to risk it, I risk it. If I want to...
And this was a few years into your property investing.
That was, 2019. So at that point, I had...
How many properties did you had at that point?
At that point, was 3 years in, I had about 8, 9 properties.
But how did you get from that first property? Because are you doing the buy, renovate, refinance, increasing the value?
Yes.
Is that the strategy you're pursuing?
That's the BRR strategy that I used to do more often at the beginning. So the first one was nothing to do, the first project. So
how much cash are you putting in, sinking in there, and then
the very first buy-to-let was £81,000. That was a sterling one that I bought.
75% loan-to-value mortgage?
75% loan-to-value mortgage, interest only, and then there was no refurb needed at all. So
did you just avoid the ADS, the 3% came in?
No, I didn't.
Came in?
Yeah. That time was 3%.
Yeah, 3%. I just came in, I think, 2016, 17.
Then they came...
But that's all your money tied up, so how did you get the rest of the money?
So after we started in property, then nobody in our family was believing in us for that first property. But after we started, then they started to see the rent coming in, and they started to believe in us a little bit more. And then they said, my parents and Olga's parents, they said, okay, we can give you some savings for your next one. Obviously, it was not much, but the next property we bought was 8 months later, and that was for £65,000. That was cheap. £65,000 again in sterling.
What's that worth now? About 90?
Now it's 120.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, and the first one, £81,000, and it was now worth 126. Just remortgaged a couple of days ago.
You got better at negotiating 8 months.
Yes, but the second one had needed a lot of refurb and stuff like that. A lot of mistakes there. 6 months to do the refurb. Builders run away with money, all this sort of stuff. But
at least you learn the lessons early on as well.
We need to stop there. We need to stop, because these are great lessons for people. Builders ran away with the money. So we've all had some sort of experience with a dodgy builder, a cowboy builder. Looking back on that, is then you could have done to kind of avoid that situation.
Totally. Planning better, don't pay up front. So build relationship based on trust. But not just, I trust you. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to do it more often. Are you in? Because, I'm not in for the short term, for just one project, and then you go off. but never pay up front. If they come and say, another thing is don't pay daily rates. Absolutely not.
You took them on by the day.
If they've done so many refurbs and they are experienced, they know how much it costs.
Right. That's a good one. Because you hear that a lot, don't you? A lot of people think, oh, this is going to work out better for me if I just do it by the day. But
never usually does. No.
Builders get, because then you're kind of like, because you're inexperienced, you don't really know how much it should cost.
Or how long it should take,
or how long it should take. So that is a common mistake. Yeah,
totally. So the first project was 6 months and way over budget. Now a full refurb, we do it in 4 weeks, and possibly a lot less than the budget. So now we use all the tools that are available, LMPG and all the stuff.
And have you got, just touching that, LMPG's a discount, isn't it, for landlords? So
yes, it's a landlord national purchasing group. I think it's about £300 a year or something like that. Depends on the number of properties. I actually cancelled
my membership because I wasn't buying any properties. So it wasn't worth it. If you're active, then I think it can. I mean, you obviously negotiate a few trade deals as well.
We've got a good cracking couple of deals on the moment. Just got CR Smith on board as a partnership as well. So keep. It's the buying power, isn't it? If you're going LMPG or like your TIW network group, you can negotiate huge discount based on there's hundreds of investors buying 10 properties, 20 properties a year. That's a lot of buying power to negotiate massive discounts. So these things hugely help.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you think about a magnet kitchen, we spend about less than £2,000. Normally it would be £7,000-8,000. That's already the cost of the membership done.
Yeah. Have Magnet got any better? Because I used to, because I went through a phase of buying quite a few Magnet kitchens, but I just found them really hard to deal with, because what would happen is stuff would turn up and it was missing. And it was like, see if you're Howdens, you just nip to local, there's like 4 or 5 Howdens around Glasgow.
The joiners are pissed off because you went to Magnet because they love Howdens and they just go to Howdens.
So but like you say, I think the prices were pretty competitive for a while, pretty decent. But so you built up that good build team there.
Yes, yes.
And you've got those trades that you can rely on. That's
we have multiple trades. So
see back then when you went in with the first one, the 65, and the refurb went 6 months and over budget.
Yep.
Did you manage to get was it your parents' money that gave you?
Yes, my parents.
Was that a loan?
Small loan, yes.
Did you manage to get that back out then on the refinance, or did it?
Yes, we did.
Right. That's good.
Did. So I say first property December 2017, second property August 2018, and nothing for 2 years.
Wow.
Because I didn't have the money. Okay. But at that time we started the rent to rent.
So here it gets interesting.
Serviced accommodation. So we started to talk about what we were doing. We told everybody we were doing property investing.
Rent to rent. Just break it down for the listeners. Just a quick description.
Yeah, so rent to rent is when you lease a property from an existing landlord. For any reason, the landlord might be tired, doesn't want to deal with tenants and so on. So they can come on board with you and lease the property to you, and then you can put it on a higher cash flow strategy. It could be serviced accommodation, you rent per night, or HMO, you can rent per room. So it depends.
What did you do?
Serviced accommodation.
Right. Now, there's people talking about this because it is popular, because people can get access to this and into it with little money. It's not a huge amount of investment there. So how did you get those first ones and approach people? Because people are, how do I get them? How do I get speaking to landlords? How do I get speaking to agents? How did you get the first?
So the very first one was through a friend of a friend. And again, it depends on your network. The more you talk to your friends about what you do, you will lose some friends, but you also gain a lot of interest. And then when somebody was, a homeowner was leaving to Chile, they say, I have this property in Sterling, there's, I don't know what to do, the tenant trashed it, I have to leave, now I don't know what to do. And they say, speak to Olga, because Olga Giuseppe, I'm doing this. And then she came to us and then she said, can I show you the property? I say, yeah. No, she actually said, can you take my property? I say, I don't know, I have to see it first. So we went to see it. It was smelly. They had a lot of dogs in the house, smoking and stuff. And I say, look, the property needs a bit of work. So what we can do, you can move to Chile, go to where you have to go. We do the refurb. You can pay for the refurb, but we manage it. And then once we finish the refurb, then we will rent it from you. we lease it from you, and we do Airbnb, Booking.com, etc.
Were you fully upfront and transparent about what you were going to do with it? I think that's the key to it. As long as you understand that that's what's going to happen. And how many of them did you build up? Did you do?
No many. So 3. It was the 3. It was the idea. The original idea was not to buy to lets. Was to build service accommodation business. 10 will give us net £10,000 a month.
About that.
That's it. Then COVID happened.
Right. And how much pre-COVID? How much were you making on each unit roughly on average?
Each unit on average is about 1,500 net. So
net profit after all costs.
Yeah.
So that's. I mean, I can see why. I can see why. And a lot of people got into this and got caught up in it. I know a guy who had about 12 of them, and he doesn't do it anymore. He went back and just got a job. But where did it all fall down then? Obviously.
COVID, Airbnb and Booking.com cancelled all the reservations for the future, so we didn't know what we were going to do with that. Luckily, some of them were direct bookings, so people they already booked with us and paid directly. So we contacted them and says, look, you can't travel this year. We give you 2 choices. We can either refund you or we can keep it as a credit for next year. I would say 90% kept it as a credit, and 10% we refunded. But that helped us a little bit with the thing.
How about the rent to the landlord? Because you've obviously guaranteed the landlord this rent.
We kept paying,
For how long?
Forever. We didn't stop.
You still got them?
Yeah.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be, it was all going to end in tears.
No, right. Absolutely not.
So you've still got these 3?
Yeah, but...
Operating yourself? You don't use a management company?
No, we manage ourselves, yeah.
Okay. What's your market for the guests? People staying for tourism or contractor?
It depends how you set it. You set it up. For example, if you have 1 night stay, you get tourists. If you put minimum 3-4 nights, you get more contractors. Right. So at the beginning we were doing 1 night stay, but we were going there and cleaning ourselves, scrubbing the toilets and all the stuff. We had to do this stuff. We couldn't afford a cleaner at that time. But now we put minimum 4 nights. So all these calendars are nicely booked with 7-14 nights from contractors and even like holiday makers. But it's different. You have less cleaning costs.
Any idea what your occupancy is roughly for?
Yeah, it's about 65, 70, I would say, over the year. Because in summer it's 100%, in winter is about 40, 50.
And pre-COVID, you're netting £1,000 a month. What are you taking now, roughly?
Now, roughly is more or less the same, 1,700, 1,500, but I would say we didn't change much the prices, to be honest.
What's your advice to people starting out with that strategy now? Can it still be done?
Yeah.
And what about the implications of the legislation, short-term legislation? Did you guys get around that?
Yeah, we done all the licensing, etc.
Stirling Council?
Obviously, yes, Stirling Council and Clackmannanshire as well. So what happened there, apart from they have different rules, which I still don't understand why they have different rules. But what happened there is, all these rent-to-rents, they're coming into the market now. Young people, they want to do rent-to-rent, no money down, etc. They don't realize they have to do the licensing before they can put it on Airbnb, on Booking.com. So they think they can make money straight away, but they have to account for at least 6 months.
Yeah.
3 to 6 months, I would say.
Plus the setup costs as well.
Correct.
Great tip.
So before, it was easy. You just take it, put it on Airbnb straight away, which I did overnight. But now, you have to account for that. So I always tell my students or whoever I speak to, please account for that, because if you're promising the landlord you're going to pay them a guaranteed rent, you have to do that. So can you take the hit for 6 months to a year? Maybe it takes 3 months, but you don't know. So can you take the hit? So please account for that, because I don't want you to.
Because if you go down the route of getting a tenant, and then very difficult to obviously, it's not like it used to be in the old days, a 6 month lease and that was it. Do you know what I mean? But now obviously the PRT, that keeps running. So you need to watch the risks and factor that void period into account, or else you could potentially go down a corporate let route.
That's right, yeah. But we do another thing about rent to rent now that you're talking. It's not my main strategy. My main strategy is buy to let, buy, refurbish, refinance. But because of a necessity, we decide to do 50-50 rent to rent. I don't think anybody else does it. So we speak to the landlord and says, okay, I'm not leasing it from you. We are business partners. So what we're going to do now, we take both the risks. You can earn more money, but at least I don't have to, put all the money up front. And this is great for people that are starting out, they're beginning. So what you do is you share all the costs and you share all the income, 50-50.
Right.
So they put in the property, you put all the management and experience, setting it up, all the guests, organizing the cleaners, the changeovers, etc. And then you have a communal bank account and everything goes into that. So all the costs get split 50-50, all the income gets split 50-50. That's at zero risk for somebody that wants to do rent to rent.
Okay. And obviously it does come with risks. What would you say the downsides are of rent to rent for people? Just
if they're not clear and transparent to what they're doing, the downside is they are going to piss them off even more, the landlords. Right. So make sure you have a business plan when you do this. This is a serious business. It's not just for for a hobby, as a hobby.
So you have that landlord on board with
yes.
the plan.
Yeah. What sort of agreement do you have with the landlords? Do you have a contract?
It's a lease agreement, yes.
Lease.
So you get a lease. Obviously, you have to be compliant with everything. You have to have the right insurance, building insurance.
Is that a corporate lease?
Corporate lease, yes.
Yeah.
What's stopping them giving you notice after 3 months, 2 months, and you've spent the money setting up?
You mean the landlord giving you notice? The contract is about 1, 2, 3, 5 years. Depends on how long you want to do.
This is my issue with rent to rent. There's not a lot that you can do though, really.
No.
If the landlord wants the property back, then how much are you going to fight it?
Yeah. It happens to us that the landlord was questioning about, you're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
I want to do it myself. Switch yourself. You can do it yourself, but it's not with the same knowledge or the same systems that we have in place. So they came back after 2 months. So we gave the property back, and then they came back after 2 months.
Right.
So
it's just too much work.
It's too much work, and I say I know that it is a lot of work. Especially if you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
At that time, we were doing all the cleanings, all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from the landlord's point of view, I mean, you guess you've got the. I personally, I wouldn't do it because I don't. I've always got the mindset, and the reason why I don't loan money as well is because I've always got the mindset that person's making more money than me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always like that. Yeah. So. But from the landlord's point of view, they are getting somebody like yourself, credible, who is managing the property, who's going in there like every week and keeping a check on it. So you have that kind of comfort in knowing that it's getting well looked after. I guess the other risk is from the person who's doing the strategy, the renter, if you like, or the serviced accommodation who's running it, is that you've got that initial investment to get the property up to standard, which obviously if you're furnishing it at a decent level can be, I don't know, what you're talking about. By the time you kit it out with all this stuff,
£4,000, I would say.
£4,000.
But we have the agreement with the landlord, so they put the money in because they are going to refurbish the property. We are going to manage it, the refurbishment, but they're going to put the money in. So if we need to negotiate a rent-free, period of 3-4 months to cover the cost of that refurb, we can do that. So we can either negotiate that, or they can put the money up front to do the refurb. But at the end of the day, it's their property, and they have to refurbish the property anyway if they were, renting it as a buy-to-let. So it's their property. Obviously, I can help them with all the stuff, and then if it's a 50-50 rent-to-rent, in that case, I make less money, but they're making more money.
Why have you decided not to really scale, and go and really expand? So was that your question?
I was going to ask that. What was the change in tack to go from the 3 rent to rents back into the buy to let?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, COVID.
Right.
So COVID scared us a little bit in terms of everything shut it down. What do we do? So at that time we had a few buy to lets, not many, and that was our backup plan. And I say, I can't rely on one stream of income. This is crazy. That was the idea. Get 10 service accommodation and that's it, retire. But then we realized no, this is risky, so let's do multiple strategies. And that's why we do now rent to buy, rent to rent, commercial, buy to let, service accommodation, so on. We do that because if any legislation changes, which it will,
you're safe,
then we have something else.
But would you say, what about the financial kind of impact of this part? You kind of went into the rent to rent because you'd ran out of the money. Have you managed to build up more cash to then go back in, or more private investors to go and start scaling the buy-to-let portfolio? Yes,
so private investors was one of the things that scaled us up a lot. So obviously, the more you talk about what you do, the more people start to inquire about. So sometimes you get people who did primary school with you. They're on Facebook. You didn't hear from them for 30 years, and then says, "What are you doing, Giuseppe?" I'm interested.
Italians.
Yeah. I was like, I'm interested in doing something like that. I was like, oh, hello. So you start the conversation. Conversation is probably the key in these joint ventures, in these private investors.
How do you kind of structure it then for the listeners who are interested in this kind of thing? So
it's a simple loan agreement. Most people don't want to risk and get into property straight away. So they want just to get a better interest compared to the bank. So you just do a normal contract loan agreement. You decide on what percentage you can give them. They're happy with, you're happy with, and how long for. So it could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We give more interest if they keep it for longer, because obviously we can recycle that cash multiple times.
What's the best interest rate you've ever been able to get out of anyone?
It was 8%.
8%, sorry.
That's
And are you looking to just use that for the whole purchase, or was it be just for the deposit?
For deposits, it depends on. At the beginning, we accepted anything, even £5,000, to be honest.
Yeah.
So now I think it was crazy to get accepted just £5,000, but when you start, you take anything.
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion going on about private lending at the moment in our Facebook group. There was a big post there, so we are going to do some more content around it and get solicitor in and stuff like that, just so that people really know, because unfortunately there has been a few people stung lately.
Yeah.
So we want to try and protect the community as well and do our bit. Obviously we can't name and shame, we can't give names. We'd like to have a big rogues list, rogues gallery here.
Yeah. Do you know what, Nick? This is quite important, because we don't accept any money from people that we don't know.
Yeah.
That's my rule.
Build the relationship
has to be
first.
somebody that know me personally. And I got offered from various people that know me from YouTube or social media. I've seen your post. I want to invest with you, and I didn't accept it because I don't know where the money come from. With anti-money laundering checks, I cannot accept several chunks of money for the deposit of a house or things, because then I'm going to be in trouble. So I prefer to know the person and know that this money is legit, rather than.
Have you had any issues getting that through the lending process, in terms of lenders saying where's your deposit come from?
Yes, if you're using it as absolutely, they won't give you the mortgage. So if you use it as a deposit, they won't give you the mortgage. If you use it as a deposit for a bridging, that's fine. Yeah, bridging companies are a bit more flexible. But if you're using it to buy cash, that's fine as well. Yeah. So definitely, if you're planning to get 100% of the money, like 75% from mortgage and 25% from investors, you're not going to get it.
And what happens when you get that revaluation back and you don't get the value that you thought you were going to get, and you've got the investors' money tied up in the deal? What's your plan? What's your plan B? Nice. Has that happened?
Yeah, it happened. Yeah. Happened with likely not at the beginning, but later on. So we could support the repayment from other properties.
Right.
But if it's at the beginning, be careful. Don't do everything, all your eggs in one basket, because it could be risky and dangerous, and your reputation is on the line as well.
I suppose if you've got a longer loan term agreement, you've got time to recover from that. True. If it was 1 year, you've not got much time to try and fix that or get the money that you're due back in.
Absolutely, Stephen, because that's something most people want to dip their toes to see if you're reliable, and so they give you just for 1 year.
Yeah.
But I would say 99% of the times they renew.
Yes.
So obviously, if they tell us at the beginning, I'm going to keep it for 3 years, they get a much better interest from day one. Mm-hmm. If they want to start from first year, just 1 year is less interest, of course.
How do you pay the interest? Is it yearly or
yearly? Yeah.
Yearly, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, are they people generally that bothered? They want updates, or are they just quite happy?
Depends on the investor. Some investors say, a year passed, I didn't see any statement. I was like, okay. I thought you didn't want it.
I didn't see any property either.
No.
And you're sitting in the back of a yacht in the south of France.
No, because probably they left it for 3 years. So, we just pay the interest. Sometimes they reinvest the interest into the thing, so it gets compounded.
Oh, that's good.
I would say honestly, out of all the investors, I'm not talking about thousands of investors, we're talking like 5 or 6 investors in total that we accepted money from. Out of them, only one requested the money back after 6 months because they wanted to buy their own house. Yeah. And we said, just give it back. That's fine.
How much money do you think you've raised over the time? Or do you just generally try and make it keep going, working? No,
it's an interesting question. Never pooled all the money together, but I would say about 200 to 300. Yeah. When I was at the university lecturing, I was raising funds for research, and there I raised £7 million.
Nice.
So obviously that skill is there.
You're talking about that network right at the start. Did you manage to tap into that later down the line for any?
Some of them actually, not in terms of money, but in terms of people that want to learn to invest in properties.
Right, okay.
So they contact me via social media and say, "Oh, I seen you left the academia. You want to do this? I want to do the same. What can I do?"
At what point did you leave your job, your profession? Then how far into the portfolio? What did you start? 2017.
I had to replace my income.
Yes.
So that was my goal. You know,
how much does a university professor earn?
I was earning 44 when I left, 44,000. But when I started, I was on 27,000. So it goes up every year.
And like as a university professor, is there, is there like a ambition to get to some sort of like director or something like that to raise your...
I saw in the paper actually, not that I read the paper, I was at my in-laws because our power was off for 4 days, and I saw that the university Stirling professor was the biggest salary increase.
The chancellor, the vice chancellor, he was on 480,000 pounds.
It was like 180 grand a year salary increase in a year. It was like more than the...
The problem with that is...
More than the Prime Minister.
The problem with that is, as we well know, those figures sound quite high, but like you just think of the tax implications. If you're employed at that level, do you know what I mean?
Half it's gone.
And you know your pension and all the rest of it. And you know yourself, being a business owner, there's so many more tax advantages.
Oh yeah, like limited companies are all the way. There's there's no doubts about that.
So when did you actually eventually leave your...
So I needed about 4 or 5 properties to replace that income. And I bought, in that year, 13, 14 properties.
Nice. What year was that then?
To 2020.
Wow, that's a big growth period.
Yeah, that was during COVID.
Nice.
That was when I pushed really hard.
When most people are sitting... Well, for me, I would speak from my own experience. I was about to complete a deal before. And again, this is where it comes to mindset and risk. And for me, I was like, I'm sitting out because property prices are going to plummet and I'm going to go and mop up afterwards. And guess what happened?
Went up 40% in the last few years.
Skyrocketed and I missed out on all that growth.
Don't wait and buy property and wait.
That's it.
So you went full on, mate.
I went full on because I had nothing to lose.
Do you know what I'm interested in? I was going to come to the question. So you started the teaching as a professor in 2012?
2012 was my PhD when I finished. Then I had 1 year without a salary, and then 2013, roughly.
So you studied for 9 years to work for
44,000
years. So you studied for longer than you actually became a professor.
6 years.
But you don't regret it though.
Absolutely not.
See, this is our
clickbait line. So like you replaced your salary in basically
2 years.
In 2 years.
2.5 years I replaced my salary and I left my job. I went full time. Well, kind of. I was recruited by another company, training company, doing property training in England.
Did you do property training at all?
I did a little bit. Not like a crazy amount of money because I didn't have the money. But I was studying day and night. I stopped. Yeah. I know this is a podcast, but this is what I did. I stopped listening to the radio, only podcasts.
Yes,
I stopped watching television, only YouTube. I was reading books, like 36 books a year and so
just
on.
Engrossed
so
in it,
I never was so much interested in something like in property. Mm-hmm. And it's not about property, but about the lifestyle that property can give you.
Yeah.
You know, getting
freedom of choice.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all it.
So the motivators then, what we're saying is everyone's got motivation, everyone's got a reason. You know, what was your reason then?
My kids. When my daughter was born in 2016, that was when everything changed. In
terms of what? You wanted more time with your kids?
I was leaving. So as a lecturer, I was going to the university at 8:30 in the morning. She was sleeping. Then I was coming back 6:30 in the evening and just 1 hour for dinner and then go to sleep again.
My kids sleep till late.
And I say, I'm not going to do this for 40 years of my life. That's not what I'm going to do.
It's interesting that switch instantly.
Yeah. And you know what? I had a shift. I had a shift in terms of mental health and stuff like that because I was feeling overwhelmed with opportunities. I was like, there's so much more that I'm not doing. Why am I not doing? I want to get there. And I had that drive to get there.
Desire to do something
so
more.
Much that I felt sick. So
did you struggle with procrastination at all in terms of when you were reading those 30 books and doing all that YouTube and there was so many different strategies people were talking about? Did you struggle? with getting the focus on homing in on one? Or, because I know you do a few, but...
No, I didn't struggle because what I do, I learn something and I do it. I learn something and I do it. That probably doesn't help a lot with productivity in terms of like you can't focus on one thing. But that's what I do. For example, if I'm learning something, I stop it and then... for example, if I need to send a message to somebody, I forgot about the builder, I need to do this, and I send it straight away. So if I'm learning a new technique, I'm going to download straight away everything about that technique because I need to learn it, I need to do it. I don't just learn it, I do it.
You do it.
So that helps with procrastination, because if you start to learn and never do, you forget what you learned at the beginning, and you keep learning and you never do. So obviously that's
a good tip.
Horrible. But coming back to mental health, that's that thing. I think it's an interesting topic for entrepreneurs, and it's going to be hopefully helpful for somebody else. I ended up in the hospital because I was at the university as a lecturer. I knew I wanted to do something else, and I had this strong pain in the chest, and I was like, "What is it?" You know, they took me with the ambulance to the hospital. They did all the checks. I was feeling pain, like crazy pain here, and they done all the tests. They couldn't find anything, and they say it's stress related. You know, that was the response. It's stress related. And I say, well, stressed about what? And I say, because I know that I have to do something else. You know, I'm fed up of doing this.
Wow.
And
that's powerful, isn't it?
It is powerful. I was under morphine first time I tried it. Not bad, but I was like really, really in pain for almost a week in the hospital. And then when I decided, no, I'm not going to do this. I need to change. So
did you come to this realization yourself?
That was realization.
Wanted to do more.
Most of the times this happens when you are in the age of 29, 39, 49. So the ninth, when you go into the zero, it happens for some reason. I don't know, mainly to men.
Probably especially with men, yeah.
Yeah, than the women. But that was for me quite strong.
Next going to feel that when he turns 50 next.
Listen, I've already been in the hospital with stress as well. I didn't turn into a property guru. See, that's the tick box for you when you do your courses.
Here we go.
That was did you ever watch the Mike Winnett on YouTube?
Yes.
Brilliant. It's a shame that he doesn't keep, but he had it was like a entrepreneur and what's
formula.
So it's a formula. So everybody's got their sob story. Some of it's like a health thing. Yeah. You know, I nearly was dead, and then I realised the moment in hospital I went for property.
You said he's making this up.
No. Listen, mate, I'm glad you're still here.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure at the time it was quite scary. I'm just having a joke.
No. I don't. No, funny enough, you telling me this, but I don't share these on webinars or anything. So I don't use sub stories because I don't need sub stories.
No. Listen, in all seriousness, you look like you're healthy. You're doing well. How is your health?
Good. So my wife forced me to run. Nice. So we ran a marathon in September last year in the Loch Ness.
Good,
so
man.
I could say I've done 42 kilometers. Tick box. That's it. Me. But yeah, we keep.
Never again.
But like you say, there is a common theme there, and usually it could be a death as well. We've had a lot of that. Yeah. People come in and say, right, I lost my dad, I lost my partner, I lost some tragic life event could stop you, and then you just rethink life.
Yeah,
you know, yours sounds similar to mine. Positive to the fact when your daughter was born, you're thinking, "Shit, I need to change the way my life's going. The trajectory needs to change."
Are you leaving your kids anything? Are you?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm the same now.
You love this conversation.
This is a good topic. Yeah. Why would you build something for somebody else when you don't know if somebody else wants it?
Yeah, that's a really good
point. Many people do that, and they say, I'm doing all this work for my kids. What if your kids don't want to do your business? What if they want to do something completely different? So I always say, be selfish in a positive way. Mm-hmm. Do it for yourself, not for somebody else, because you might be disappointed if you're doing for somebody else. Mm-hmm. And then you can't give that responsibility to somebody else to follow in your footsteps, because it's their future. It's different. If you want to leave them something, that's your choice. Yeah. It's not because of them.
They'll get a wee something to maybe give them a wee...
I'm sure you'll leave them something.
They'll get a wee something, but they're not going to get...
So do you not think, the way I'm looking at this now, and probably similar to you guys as well, it's more the relationships I'll have with my kids because of what property is going to give me the freedom to not be away 8 o'clock till 6:30, miss out on their upbringing, miss out on them coming home from school, the conversations you have, you're there, you're present. If you have that better relationship, they might not be a little wanker or something.
My 13-year-old boy, he just calls me a a parasite scumbag landlord, so he's getting fuck all.
He's on the social media.
So that's basically what we're classed as in TikTok now. So anybody.
That trend.
But it's different, isn't it? It's like different if you're driving about in a fancy car and all the rest of it. Then you're seen as like, oh wow, check him out. But if you're just a landlord and you know that,
you pulled up in a brand new Tesla today, mate.
I was struggled with that, mate. That's, I mean, see all the screens and the voices and the buttons and all that. Oh my god!
I think you love the tech.
I know I was struggling. I couldn't even find the door handle. It's like try to get into the thing. See a funny story. I went to pick it up from the garage yesterday. The guy hands me the credit card key thing. He's like, I mean, the service is not that great. It's just like, just on you go. And I'm like, right, okay. So
it's almost like automated, isn't it? Like
I mean, it's literally the opposite from going to like another car showroom where they're on you and straight away they're like holding your hand around the whole thing. There you just go and it's you're left to get on with it. I went into the car park and they only do like 4 colours, don't they, Tesla? Like, I'm like, right, there's the silver one. It must be that one. I didn't even look at the reg or anything like that. I walked up to the car and I've got these 2 cards out. I've got the phone out, trying to connect it all up. Honestly, I'm there for about 10 minutes trying to get into this car, trying to get it to click open. And I'm looking, I was like, I don't want to have to go back in. Eventually, I just gave up. I had to go back into the showroom. The guy comes out at me, he's like, mate, this is the wrong car. He's like, it's up there. And I walked up and the other card had like the boot was open, the bonnet was open, the doors were open.
You're pressing everything.
I felt like an absolute idiot. Getting back to your story and finishing up.
Yep.
You've now built multiple businesses. Mm-hmm. Tell us what you've got now and what things are looking like for you. What's your kind of day to day, week to week?
Yeah, so 2 main businesses, so out of the 7, are the property training company, Stepping Bricks, and I have a YouTube channel as well, which I love, as I say, I love teaching, so I love sharing content and stuff, and I interview as well property experts. Nice. I don't mind competition, so I always invite them in if they are willing to share, then fantastic. Otherwise, fine. I've interviewed good guests like Dr. Di Martini on my YouTube channel and other people. So I keep doing that. And then we have the estate and letting agency in Stirling, Golden Tree Estates, and that's me, my wife, and then we have.
You got a shop there?
I got a shop here in Barton Street.
You've got a premises.
Yeah.
How many properties do you manage in the lettings?
We have about 55 at the moment. We started like less than 2 years ago.
Aye.
Nice.
So that's good.
That's really complements
But
the business.
in terms of your, sorry, just finishing up the other businesses as well.
They're all property related business, but the main 2 are the Stepping Bricks and Golden Tree Estates. Yeah. Right.
And how does because you've got quite a lot of different things going on there. How do you split up the week? How do you stay organised? Where's your focus, sort of thing? Leveraging
people and time. So it means that there are people better than you in doing stuff. So at the beginning I was trying to control everything myself, and that burns you out. So it's better to give to professionals to run it rather than you, and I focus more on the teaching part. So my main focus is Stepping Bricks, and then I do quite a lot on Golden Tree Estates, but my wife is the one doing all the social medias and stuff like that. So
have you got any staff at all?
Yeah, we have 2, almost 3 members of staff in the office, and then we have remote staff as well doing marketing.
You mentioned the VA there. Yeah. Do you use VAs like abroad, foreign?
We used to use VAs, and now we went with people that we know.
Right. Okay.
They are based in the UK, and they know the UK legislation, and then they help out with this. Mm-hmm. So admin, marketing, all the stuff can be done remotely, so it's not a problem. They don't have to be in your office. We have a videographer as well for YouTube. Started to when I started out, I did it with my phone, etc. The quality was rubbish, so I decided to outsource that one and do it professionally.
And what do you enjoy the most out of all that? Is it the teaching?
The teaching part, yes.
It's good that you've almost left that career that you enjoyed to find the property business, the entrepreneur will give you the spark, but you still came back into what you actually...
Yeah, teaching. You're still teaching people.
I never stopped. I just I didn't feel it was relevant to what I was teaching. At the university, I had that frustration of teaching somebody things that I don't think they're going to be useful to them. In my mind, I started to think it might be they're useful, but I can't find any more passion in what I was doing. In terms of fish. stuff like that. I don't care anymore. So every time, because I can see the property can change lives.
Oh, yeah.
So fish pathology, whatever you study, it gives you
a good career.
It gives you a job. So it gives you the good skills to create a job. But I like to. I don't like to do the job. I like to create opportunities for other people. So
there's only so much excitement you can get teaching about fish, isn't there?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm still playing a lot. You know, I love playing when I teach. You know, we're doing like Who Wants to Be a Parasite Millionaire, you know, something like that, stuff like that. But I kept those skills into property, which is more relevant, and I don't do those shitty, you know, get rich quick schemes.
What's your kind of model for the education? Do you sort of do like a 12-month thing, like a 12-month mentorship, or is it?
It's quite simple. So it's not like a pyramid scheme. We have two programs. One is the club, which is a monthly subscription, £49 a month. So it's not like a crazy amount of thing. And then the other one is the academy, which is a more advanced mentorship for 12 months. And that is capped to less than 20 people. You know. And
in the club thing, how many folk come and go?
At the moment, we have about 90 in the club, 95 roughly.
That's good numbers.
So they can decide if you want to pay up front for the full year. So it costs them £39 a month. So there's a small discount.
Is that where the money is, boys? Then is it the property education?
The community, the education, it's all part of the property business, isn't it?
You know what, Nick? Because this again, you hear this a lot. Oh, these trainers are making money from selling courses. I don't sell courses, first of all. Selling courses rather than properties. And it's a delicate topic in terms of, I've seen property trainers not having a single property. And I was like, how are they teaching people?
Yeah.
You know, I'm always on the front line. I do mistakes. I make mistakes. I buy good deals, bad deals, you know, in between. But I'm always up to date because I do it.
Yeah, exactly. Always learn, always evolving, and always passing on that relevant knowledge.
You're out there doing the do. You get the wee selfie picture with the keys.
Always.
I like that. Property number 23. That's why I got you on here, by the way, because I keep seeing your photo up with all these keys.
Nice.
And you know, obviously, you know, I've done my due diligence and that on you, and your company's house. You've got all the properties listed there. So. Absolutely brilliant story. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you at a networking event then.
I will come. Promise.
No, it's been brilliant. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.